supervisor for another 4 years. So I've gotten to know John really well. Amazing agent, amazing guy. I never knew when I joined HSI and Customs and became a manager that the actual management training I had was when I was a 6th grade teacher. Because in 6th grade, you have 3 idiot kids that are constantly making the nightmare, right? And you have 4 or 5, everybody else in the middle, you have 4 or 5 that are quiet, they're in the back, they just do their assignment, and at the end they would turn it in. Thank you, Mr. Swartley, and they're out. And I was like, man, if I could clone those 4, I would have the easiest job in the world. And as a GS, if I could clone John 9 times, I would be the greatest GS ever, which I was not, and it would be the easiest job in the world. John's a very even-keeled guy. I know everybody here is either friends with him or married, so you know him very well. Even-keeled guy, never once gave me trouble as a supervisor or a manager. And
Just like me.
And he was also a litmus test. And the litmus test was, if John thinks you're an asshole, you're probably an asshole. I remember, I don't recall who it was, and I'm glad I don't, because this was over 12 years ago, but we were talking, and I brought up a certain person in our office, and John was very calm and quiet, but he's like, Bruce, he's an asshole. And I was like, okay, John Valdez said he's an asshole. He probably is. So I kind of had that red flag going with that person for a long time, because I'm like, if you get on this guy's bad side, you got a problem. And the problem's you, not John. So John's been fantastic. Casework-wise, he's done an amazing job. The networks and the people that he did, especially in the pharmaceutical realm, were unbelievable. I know he goes way back to these guys. The only time I've seen John not be John, one time a year, every year. Does anybody know what time a year that is? GPS. So John, how many years did you get out of fraud?
Well, I didn't get as big as Bob. But I got close, so I got 18 plus.
Okay.
So I keep it I should be 18 plus.
18 months, 18 years in fraud. That's fantastic. And what he did, and the reason he did that, he was the kid in the back of the room who did his job. As you guys know, it's not hard in the government, but if you just shut up, do your job, and be a nice guy, you get to stay. And that was John every year. And he would always start to get nervous and start asking. And a couple times I'm like, John, you're the last person that has to worry about that. Because he was the bedrock, one of the bedrocks. Bobby was one. We've got a couple guys here that were fantastic. But he's one of the bedrocks that anybody could go to. He'd work with anybody. He'd help you out if you did, as long as you weren't a jerk. And he would get you on the road to success if that's what you wanted. And I'm very thankful that I had the ability to work with guys like this. This is what made it. I can name 10 that I'd much rather forget, but John's one that I do remember as being one of the best that I worked with here in Houston. So I wish you the best. We've got a couple things for you. Omar is his first line suit. I'm going to pass it to Omar.
Yep. Guys, real quick, I've had the pleasure of knowing John for a while now. Just to give you the timeline, I started my career in 1999 in Brownsville, Texas as an inspector. I arrived in Houston in 2002. One of the first people I met was Mr. John Valdez. We were in a narcotics group together. I said, you know what, we're going to do some undercover work. You know, he's like, oh, Omar, I'm from Beaumont, I don't speak Spanish. Work out for yourself. We had a couple of things in common, right? We were diehard Cowboy fans. We were both former Texas State parole officers and stuff. So the story goes, right, as the timeline goes, 2004 rolls around, the merger happens. John goes over to commercial fraud. I go to human smuggling group, right? 5 years later, I do my time. Because of my Spanish skills, right? So the timeline is going, right? It's 2009. I get asked to go to commercial fraud. I pass. The guy is here. I pass their test. I go to commercial fraud. Guess who's sitting there? Big John Valdez in the back, right? So I get to sit next to John. I'm in the group for 3 years. Fast forward to 2012. I get promoted. I go to headquarters for 5 years, right? 2017, I come back. I'm at the SAC office. I said, you know what? Let me go to my old cube and see who's there. Guess who's there? John Valdez, right? So now I'm back in Houston. It's 2017. I'm the GS of the narcotics group. I do my time. 2020, I get to come back and be the GS of the commercial fraud group. Guess what? Guess who's sitting there? Mr. John Valdez. I leave IP theft. I become the supervisor of the trade group. Then I become acting ASAC. I go back to the IP theft group, and here we are now. Who's still there? John Valdez, man. So he's the bedrock, he's the institution, he's one of the godfathers. He should be on the Mount Rushmore with Mr. Bobby Sherman, Mr. Ed Farber, John Valdez,
And Lewis.
and Lewis right there. So once again, man, John, he is just, once again, an idol when it comes to this type of work and stuff, man. It's been a pleasure knowing you, supervising you, and being your friend for the last 20 years, my brother. Appreciate it. Congratulations.
First of several awards, but this one is pretty cool. It's a nice carved Texas mail with the coin in it. John Valdez, in recognition for your years of hard work, dedication, commitment to the mission of HSI Houston. Best wishes in your new endeavors, May 3, 2001 to June 30th, 2025.
Don't leave that at the restaurant.
Yeah, that's the group award. And I'm gonna assume this is the office award.
Correct.
You wanna do that one?
Right here, just to let you guys know, these are a couple of coins we got from industry. As everyone knows, John worked extremely well with industry, so we were able to put this together. This flag also flew over the state capitol. So it flew over on June 19th, 2025, in honor of Special Agent John Valdez. So once again, such a good job for you.
All right.
So, I met John, the first time I saw John, it was in 2005 or 6. Maybe Sam remembers his name. The Banner Brothers, the DEA, and most of them. So they were in McAllen, Texas. I was an agent in McAllen, Texas. And Houston came down like the round was the money drop. That's the first time I saw John. And when I got back to Houston in LA, transferred. I seen him around, but I never talked to him until I got transferred in 2016. I got transferred. Bobby approved. My transfer. Domingo approved it. And I got transferred to John was since day one, John was an easygoing guy, just as he looks, an easygoing guy, always willing to help. Back then, everything has to go through Bobby if you want to open a case. But John will always say, "Man, come over here, do this and do that," and he will calm down. And since day one, I want to learn, and I went to him and Bobby, and I was able to get something going, and the rest is history. John and I became like an older brother, a friend. And more than a coworker, we will sit down in the car and talk about different things, family, work. So we have a kind of common mentor that we all know. John and I call him the professor, because that's how an informant called him the professor, which is Domingo Gonzalez. So we go back and forth with stories. So John became a good friend and right before COVID, I noticed John was going different, John. And that's when I asked him straightforward, what's wrong with you? And you know, for those of you who don't know what happened, that's what happened. And John told me what happened. We gave him the full support that we needed. And
Amen.
John never stopped working, going through that. Anybody else was shut down, and John kept working. We went like 3 times to LA to do search warrants, and John through those hard times, John continued to work. He earned my appreciation and this guy is a worker, right? And so we're here to celebrate him. I learned from John how to write emails to the bad guys and how to wrap them up and how to get the knowledge on you. He probably learned from these 2 guys and he passed it on to me. Hopefully, guys, we're sitting down in Thailand and all they talk about is Ed, Bobby, and Sam, and John. And hopefully one day my name gets thrown there. So, like I said before, Daddy Murdoch wanted to be here, but he couldn't fly flight from Thailand. No, he's in Australia. I got the pleasure to work with John on a couple of cases. He did a couple of cases for me, and I did a couple of cases for him. And I'm gonna miss you, man. I'm the last of the original group. When I got here, I'm the last one, and might not be too far away from you. I might leave as well in December, but we're here for you. So we got together, the group, and all former partners of the group also, and we got to this gun.
John, you gotta start carrying the gun now.
It's empty. Flight 301 to 6:30 to 8:25. I thought Joe was gonna stay to mandatory, but 3:40 was supposed to happen in November, but due to changes on so we decided to move the party to June. So, thank you, John. Enjoy your retirement. Now you don't have to use your teleworking to finish the farm work.
Hey guys, real quick, we're gonna pass it over to Mr. Bobby and Mr. Carter next.
Good job. Good job.
Very good.
Por poco llora, no sé todo.
Yeah, you know, we worked with John for years. I helped rescue him from a narcotics group, brought him into the real world, and he never failed. He was always there. If you needed something, you just ask John, and he'd take care of it. He worked, and together we were pretty successful. We did a lot of stuff, a lot of fun cases, a lot of neat travel. We got to go to Europe with John. We just barely escaped with our lives. I know it. We barely escaped with our lives, but it was fun. And we did a great case over there, one of the best cases that we did. Like I said, John was always there, and whatever you needed. I've been going for 15 years now, and John was in the group for seems like 20 years before that. I retired in 2000, and it's 2010 I retired. So it's 15 years, and John's just now retired. He called me, I talked to him the other day, and he said, I'm thinking about leaving. I said, John, you just got a few months? I said, you'll take them 6 months to figure out that you don't show up for work. I said, hey, it's fine. I can't do it anymore. I said, well, the same advice I gave Bobby when I talked to him one day, and he said, I'm thinking about retiring. I said, go to the undercover office and hide out. I said, they will never find you.
I got tried to do it after 20 years.
I said, the same thing you've been doing your whole career. So, but anyway, John, thank you very much. It was my pleasure working with you. Thank you.
I was really worried about you when you first came to the group. You had been working with Diego Gonzalez. You had agent syndrome. We had to deprogram you. You were able to do it, and you did an excellent job. One thing about John is he never says you can't do something. He never says he doesn't know how to do something. He asks how to do it, and he learns. And he always keeps his eyes open. And he's a man of few words. He did a great job working with us. I think it's the greatest testament that Eddie and I can say, because he teases us about having veto power in the group. Ryan Harrington made it, so that's but you were one one of the best guys that we had come out of the group. And a lot of people wondered what was gonna happen to the operation after he left. And he kept it going, and was successful. And I think the greatest testament to Eddie and I's success is not the cases we did, not the seizures we made. The frequent flyer miles, okay. Those matter. But the greatest testament to our success
Please.
is that he became a good agent, and he kept the operation going. And we got through it. Great job. Oh, one thing about John. The first time he went to Europe.
All right.
The first time he went to Europe was when we went to Germany on the case. And we asked John, and we were going back to Texas, John, what did you find most interesting about Germany? He sat there and thought, he goes, you know, I didn't see one difference the whole
I didn't see what?
Do you see a pickup truck on
Oh,
Germany?
I think of,
And I just say a few words on behalf of the industry. It was already mentioned. John's great opportunities and excellence in investigations on counterfeit medicines. There are a lot of people in prison because of you and the work that you and your team did. And that's really significant. There are so many more patients that have been protected because of those arrests, because of those enforcements. And we thank you for your service in that. That is amazing for our patients. And we just want to thank you. We actually, John has done a tremendous amount of counterfeit Keytruda cases. It's an injectable oncology product. It saves people's lives if it's real. It kills people if it's fake. And there's a lot of counterfeit Keytruda bad actors that are in prison. Again, patients are safe. We actually are taking a real Keytruda and putting it in a factory doing. That actually, unfortunately, taking a lot more time than we have. So until that comes in, enjoy a nice steak dinner with your wife. So she'll get a party gift as well. But again, thank you so much for your service.
Couldn't let this time go without saying something about my friend. I met John, I think when he was in the drug group, and I was in the drug group before I transitioned over to fraud. And I found out that John went to Lamar University. I'm like, wow, somebody from Beaumont. But John, you know, he has this very calm demeanor. And if once you learn this is all subterfuge, because this guy is 100% badass and will get the job done. And the story about John is that there's a case we were working. The guy was from Panama, and I had the case, and I assigned it to another AUSA simple case. I went to Republic of Georgia on a trip, and I get a call from Bobby saying, this case is going to hell. The AUSA is being bullied by the judge, and it's a counterfeit case, and Bobby tells me that the judge says we can't use the word counterfeit. So, this is how much this is a team. So I was supposed to spend an extra day in Istanbul, and I said, screw it. I get on the plane, I fly, I get off the plane, come straight to the courthouse, and I meet with John Valdez. And John is telling me about this case. And I said, John, tell me how are you going to present this case? You're going to be the main, you're the case agent. What do we have to do? And John says, well, since we can't use the word counterfeit, I don't know what we're going to do. And so I said, John, when you testify, I want you to have counterfeit diarrhea. I want every word come out your mouth. And that's what we did, and the guy was convicted in 15 minutes. But John, outstanding agent, couldn't let this moment go without coming. Congratulations, enjoy your retirement. And what I liked about working with HSI, not only did we work hard, but we all became a family. And this is a great team, a great group, and as you said, put a lot of bad guys in prison.
All right, well, where do I start after this, man?
push-ups.
First thing I want to do is thank God, 24 plus years, He watched over me, took care of me. Thank you, Jesus. But I guess I'll start from the beginning. When I first started, I was in a drug group with Mark. And, Mark was former HPD, so he was a little on the wild side. So,
I don't know.
I learned a lot from him over the years, and I had a good time in there. But probably around, I want to say 2000, I was there for about 6 years, 5-6 years. And then Eddie and Bobby had a case where they had seized like 1 million pills of Viagra. And at that time, Viagra was like, you know, it was a big counterfeit all over the world. It was a very effective drug.
Still is.
It became very popular.
How do you know?
Bobby told me about it. But anyway, we were able to, I was a truck driver in smuggling goods, and they're like, hey, you know, you need to drive down there and pick up this load. It's co-mingled with some stuffed animals. And I'm like, I got all the way to LA, you know, and just pick up some Viagra. But the good thing about it was I met Bobby and Eddie, and we talked a little bit, and shortly after that, Eddie came to me and said, hey, John, you know, you want to come to fraud, commercial fraud. And at that time, commercial fraud wasn't exactly the group everybody wanted to be in. Now it is. Back then, it was like, hey, you know, drug group, you don't want to run around, what's the influence, you know, all these things. I'd had enough of that. So anyway, I sat there, Bobby came and talked to him, he said, you know, John, y'all want to come, Eddie? I said, you know, I was still a little hesitant, you know, you don't want to leave the booth and do it for a while, but at the same time, I want to try something new. But Bobby could tell I was a little hesitant, so he says, John, I mean, it's a no-brainer, man. He says, man, we're flying around the world, staying in 5-star hotels, working banker's hours, 9 to 5, we even running around in the middle of the night on weekends. But if you want to sit in an 18-wheeler at a truck stop in Brownsville waiting on road, please do that. And I'm like, yeah, you put it that way, Bobby. And surely there was, you know, we flew all over. I mean, we went to Germany, I went to Ukraine, I went to Thailand, we went to all over South America, went to Africa, Mauritius. And I'm sure I'm leaving out. There's states, you know, every state and country seems like we interviewed, had a meeting, did something. We were doing so, you know, I was blessed, like I said, for 18 plus years, to be able to be in this group. I worked with Merck, all the pharmaceutical companies. Bobby actually introduced me to him and Eddie. Came on and took me under their wing. You know, we went to Pfizer in New York. Bobby introduced me to everybody. Eli Lilly. You know, through the years, you know, we worked more with Merck. I just want to tell Merck guys, appreciate y'all coming. You know, y'all have been with that trademark holder, you know, to help us to provide assistance, to do undercover provide just to give you an example. You know, they have to be true with us. I had a case with them, and you know, these counterfeit, you know, guys, they sell all kinds of different counterfeit drugs, and so we want to try to buy other ones too, not just one. Merck, we didn't have any money at the time, the office loan, so Merck said, hey, you know, we'll buy them. I said, well, can we buy, you know, Takana, or can we buy Eli Lilly's drugs, Merck, to Ed. Ed said, well, let me check, you know. Sure enough, he comes back, and yeah, we got $6 grand. You can buy whatever you want, John. We just want to further the case. Our interest is, you know, to protect our customers, you know, protect the patients, and you know, that's all we do today. So I really appreciate that over the years, you all helping us out and doing that. We had a lot of success, so I appreciate that. But going back to Sam, so during that trial scene, I was fairly new and I was nervous. Sam walked me through it, and he would tell me, hey, John, this is what you say. And he just say that, hey, I don't care. And they would object every time I said counterfeit. The defense, he can't say counterfeit, that's prejudice to the jury, you know. But the judge finally said, they would say, you know, argue it. And the judge finally said, well, it's counterfeit, he can say counterfeit. So we started saying it. But anyway, it worked well. And Sam, we did another case where Sam flew out to Philly, I don't remember. The guy had actually been arrested for some more serious charges. And Sam was like, nah, you did a lot of work, John. We're gonna go down there, we're gonna interview him, we're gonna charge him. And we did. I really appreciate that, Sam. So, appreciate all y'all guys out there. Helped me a lot, taught me a lot. So I'm ready to move on, but there's a lot of people I want to thank you here. Like I say, Bruce, over the years, he was my supervisor, he was my ASAC. He always had my back. I would get nervous sometimes about moving. And then I talked to Drew, and Drew would say, man, no way, Bruce, you know Bruce Mike, you ain't going nowhere. I appreciate that. Matt Baker, Matt came to the group. Everybody was, Matt, he got this reputation. He's a hardcore DPS guy. He's, black and white, he doesn't big in the roles. Matt was excellent. He never interfered with case work. He told me, hey, John, just keep doing what you're doing. TV-wise would come up. He'd say, hey, I'm trying to keep you out of it. I know you're doing this. Yeah, I know he did his best. TV-wise got so bad that obviously everybody's got to go something. I appreciate that. Thank you. But I thank Drew over the years. Drew, was Drew for 10 years. And more, I don't know. But like Juan was saying, we go through a lot of things together, some good, some bad, but it brings you together. It brings you always go, lighten things up. We argue a lot about the emails and texting. Obviously, after a while, I couldn't say nothing because they're winning Super Bowls and we ain't doing anything. So, but I appreciate that, Drew. Who else? I miss Frank, he came around late, he's kind of new. I think he's got a couple of years on him. Frank was a good guy. He said I needed for Frankie, hey, John, I got it. So, we still follow him. And then Kiki in the back. One thing about Kiki, it don't matter what you ask that guy. If I just told him, Kiki, I need help mowing my grass. This weekend, Kiki would say, hey, I'll come out there and help you. I need help on surveillance, Kiki would be it. If he's there, he's gonna help you. So I appreciate that Kiki over the years. Been there a long time. Trying to think, who else? There's a lot of people I'm sure I'm forgetting. Big Mike. There's his property, 8 miles late turned into property. It give me 2 hard times. I appreciate it. And, like I say, Heather, I knew for years and years. Thank you for coming. It's always thank y'all. I'm sure I'm leaving somebody out, but like I say, thank everybody. I thank my wife. She was put up with a lot over the years, so that was a good thing. But the last person I want to thank is Juan. So over the years, I think Juan's been there 7 or 8 years. We worked together really close. He says I taught him a lot, but he taught me probably more. Juan's one of those guys that I know that he's an immigration expert. He doesn't like to hear that. But he knows a lot about immigration. So
What's he good at?
Anything on anybody.
Nothing else.
Anything to do with immigration, I'll never want to do it. And he would handle it. Hey, we got a lure coming along, we belong for these guys. Don't worry about it, I'll take care of it. He would take care of it for me. I didn't have to worry about that. He would do the undercover for me. These guys would fly in and on, but he would do the undercover. And, it's one thing to get these guys to admit knowledge, admit that they knew it was counterfeit, a text or an email, or even a phone call. But when you sit down face to face with them, it's different. When you sit down face to face, you have 2 or 3 other guys there in the room. They don't want to admit that they know it's counterfeit. Even though they've already admitted, Juan was able to put them at ease with his demeanor. He was able to push them, and in both circumstances, he was able to break them. Initially, they didn't want to admit it, but guys, the meeting went on. Juan was able to get them to admit it, which made it great for us because. Once they admitted it face-to-face on a couple of meetings, it worked well. So, like Juan, I appreciate everything you did, Juan. I appreciate your friendship. If there's anything you ever need,
and I'll be there for you. And, everybody in here's got my phone number, and I'm keeping the same number. As you know, I bought my first cell phone like 3 days ago. 6 years old, and I got my first phone, so I had to switch the number on it. But, I thank y'all for coming. I appreciate it. Thank you.